I was 6 months pregnant, and nobody knew. Not my colleagues, not my supervisor, not the passengers I served coffee to every day at 30,000 feet. Especially not the man in seat 1A, the one who watched me with dark, calculating eyes every flight, the one whose presence made my heart race for reasons I didn't want to examine, the one who would, in 3 months' time, offer to become the father of my child. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start with the day everything changed. The day I almost fell, and Dante Romano caught me. The morning sickness had finally stopped, which was a relief. But the exhaustion, that was getting worse. I stood in front of my bathroom mirror, examining my reflection with growing concern. 6 months. I was 6 months pregnant, and somehow, miraculously, I was still hiding it. The loose-fitting uniform helped. The way I held my service trays strategically. The careful posture that kept my small bump concealed. I'd gotten good at deception over the past months. I had to, because admitting I was pregnant meant losing my job, meant facing questions I couldn't answer, meant acknowledging that I was completely, utterly alone. My ex-boyfriend Marcus had made that clear 6 months ago when I told him about the pregnancy. "Get rid of it," he'd said, not even looking up at his phone. "I'm not ready to be a father." "I don't want to get rid of it." "Then you're on your own. Don't expect anything from me." And that had been it. 7 months of a relationship ended in a 30-second conversation. He'd blocked my number, moved out of our shared apartment, disappeared completely. I'd cried for a week. Then I'd stopped crying and started planning. My family wasn't an option. My parents had died in a car accident 5 years ago. I had a sister, but we hadn't spoken in 3 years after a fight I couldn't even remember the cause of anymore. No grandparents, no aunts or uncles close enough to call. Friends? The few I had were scattered across the country, living their own lives. Nobody I felt comfortable asking for help. So it was just me. Me and the tiny life growing inside me and the desperate need to keep working as long as possible to save every penny I could before the reality of single motherhood hit. Which meant hiding the pregnancy, wearing compression garments under my uniform, avoiding profile shots, making excuses when colleagues suggested after-work drinks, living in constant fear of discovery. The Chicago to Milan route was my regular assignment. 3 times a week, 10-hour flights, decent pay. And one particular passenger who'd become a fixture in my carefully controlled routine. Dante Romano, seat 1A. Always. He'd been flying this route for 8 months, always booking for his class, always the same seat. Business, I assumed. He carried himself like money and power, wore suits that cost more than my monthly rent, spoke Italian on the phone in a voice that was both beautiful and slightly dangerous. And he watched me. Not obviously, not creepily, but I felt his attention every flight. When I served his pre-departure champagne, when I brought his meal, when I passed through the cabin during service. His eyes were dark, intense. His face was striking, strong features, silver threading through dark hair at his temples, a scar that cut through his left eyebrow. The kind of face that told stories I probably didn't want to know. He was always polite, never demanding, tipped well but not excessively, said please and thank you, asked about my day with what seemed like genuine interest. And something about him made my carefully constructed walls tremble. "Your usual, Mr. Romano?" I'd ask, knowing he always ordered the same thing. "Yes, thank you, Lily." He always used my name, always made eye contact, always held my gaze just a moment longer than necessary. It shouldn't have affected me. I was pregnant with another man's child, running from a relationship that had imploded, barely keeping my life together. Romance was the last thing I needed. But there was something about Dante Romano that made me feel seen, actually seen, not just acknowledged as staff, which was dangerous because being seen meant being noticed, and being noticed meant my secret might be discovered. The day it all fell apart started normally enough. I reported for duty, went through pre-flight checks, smiled at boarding passengers. The Chicago winter was brutal, snow falling heavily, making everything slower, more difficult. Dante boarded as always, nodded at me, settled into 1A. I brought his champagne, he thanked me, I moved on to other passengers. But I was tired, more tired than usual. My back ached, my feet were swollen in my shoes. The baby had been active all morning, pressing against my ribs, making it hard to breathe. About 3 hours into the flight during meal service, it happened. I was serving the passenger in 2C when a wave of dizziness hit me. Sudden, overwhelming. The cabin tilted, my vision blurred, and I felt my knees starting to buckle. The tray I was holding began to tip. I reached for the seat back to steady myself, missed, started to fall. And then strong hands caught me, steadied me, held me upright with surprising gentleness. "Easy," a deep voice said. "I've got you." Dante Romano. He'd moved fast, caught me before I could collapse, and now held my elbow and waist, supporting my weight. "I'm fine," I said automatically, trying to step away. "Thank you, But his hands didn't release me immediately, and his eyes, those dark, perceptive eyes, moved over my face with concern. "You're pale. When was the last time you ate?" "I'm fine," I repeated, more firmly. "Just tired, long shift." "Sit down." It wasn't a suggestion. He guided me firmly, but gently, into the empty seat beside him, ignoring my protests. "Jennifer," he called to my colleague, who was watching wide-eyed. "Water, please." Jennifer hurried over with water, gave me a concerned look. "Lily, are you okay?" "I'm fine, just stood up too fast." But Dante was still watching me with that intense focus, and then his gaze dropped just for a moment to where my hand had instinctively gone when I felt dizzy. To my stomach. The protective gesture every pregnant woman makes without thinking. The one I'd trained myself not to do in public. Our eyes met. His expression shifted. Understanding, calculation, something else I couldn't read. "How far along?" he asked quietly, too low for anyone else to hear. My heart stopped. I don't know what you don't." His voice was still quiet, but held absolute certainty. "I have 3 sisters. I know what pregnancy looks like." "How far along?" The lie wouldn't come. Maybe it was the exhaustion. Maybe it was the relief of finally being seen, fully seen, secret and all. Maybe it was something about Dante Romano that made deception feel impossible. 6 months, I whispered. He nodded slowly, absorbing this. "And you're still working full flights?" "I have to. My voice cracked. "I need the money." "Does the father know?" "There is no father, not anymore." Something dark and dangerous flashed in Dante's eyes, but when he spoke, his voice was gentle. "Finish this flight, then we'll talk." "Mr. Romano, I can't." "Yes, you can. My driver will wait for you after landing. Don't argue." He stood, effortlessly resuming his seat in 1A, leaving me in the still warm seat beside him. Jennifer appeared at my elbow. "Lily, what happened? Are you sick?" "Just dizzy. I'm okay now." But I wasn't okay, because Dante Romano knew my secret, and whatever happened next, my carefully controlled life was about to change completely. The rest of the flight passed in a blur. I completed my duties on autopilot, hyper-aware of Dante's presence in 1A, the weight of his gaze whenever I passed. When we landed in Milan, I tried to slip away with the other crew, but Jennifer stopped me. "Mr. Romano's driver is waiting for you, main exit." She studied me with concern and curiosity. "Lily, what's going on? He's never singled out staff before." "I don't know," I said honestly. The driver was exactly where Jennifer said, a massive man in an expensive suit who looked like he could break me in half but spoke with surprising courtesy. "Miss Anderson, Mr. Romano is waiting. This way, please." He led me to a black Mercedes, held the door open. I slid into the back seat and my breath caught. Dante sat on the opposite side, now in more casual clothes. Dark jeans, a black sweater that emphasized his broad shoulders. He looked different outside the airplane. More real, more intimidating. "Where are we going?" I asked as the car pulled away from the airport. "To talk, somewhere private." "Mr. Romano, I appreciate your concern, but—" "Dante." He met my eyes. "Call me Dante. And don't thank me yet. You haven't heard what I'm going to say." We drove to a restaurant in central Milan, clearly expensive, clearly exclusive. The staff greeted Dante with the kind of deference that suggested he was either a regular or someone very important. We were led to a private room, just a table for two, windows overlooking the snowy city. Wine was offered. I declined. Dante ordered for both of us in rapid Italian. When we were alone, he leaned back in his chair, studying me. "Tell me what happened. All of it." "Why do you care?" The question came out sharper than I intended. "Because," he said simply, "I don't like seeing people struggle alone when they don't have to." So I told him. About Marcus, about being abandoned, about having no family, no support system, about hiding the pregnancy to keep my job, keep my income, keep myself afloat. Dante listened without interruption, his expression growing darker as I spoke. "You've been flying pregnant for 6 months, working 10-hour shifts, lifting heavy service carts, standing for hours. I had no choice. You have a choice now." He leaned forward. "I'm offering you one." "What kind of choice?" "A buyer situation. Paid leave until the baby is born, a place to live, safe, comfortable, medical care, the best doctors, everything you need." I stared at him. "Why? Why would you do that?" "Because I can. Because you need help. Because—" He paused, something painful flashing across his face. "Because I know what it's like to lose someone you love during pregnancy, to wish you could have done more, to live with that regret." "I'm sorry," I whispered. "My wife, 12 years ago. She was carrying our son. There were complications. I lost them both." His jaw tightened. I swore then that if I ever had the power to help someone in a similar situation, I would. "This isn't charity, Mr. Romano. Dante, I don't want pity." "It's not pity. It's an investment. In you. In your child. In the possibility that maybe someone shouldn't have to go through what you're going through alone. What do you get out of this?" "The knowledge that I helped. That's enough." I wanted to refuse. Pride screamed at me to walk away, to maintain my independence, to not become some billionaire's charity case. But practical reality whispered louder. "You're 6 months pregnant, alone, running out of time and money. This could save you, could save your baby." "If I accept," I said carefully, "what are the terms? What do you expect from me?" "Nothing. No obligations, no strings. You take the help, you have the baby safely, you recover. Then you decide what you want to do next. Come back to work if you want. Don't if you'd rather not. Your choice entirely." It sounded too good to be true, which meant it probably was. People don't just offer this kind of help for nothing. "Most people don't." He smiled faintly. "But I'm not most people, and I have more money than I could spend in 3 lifetimes. Why not use it for something meaningful?" "I need to think about it." "Of course. Take your time." He slid a card across the table. "My personal number. Call when you decide." The food arrived. Pasta, salad, bread that smelled incredible. I realized I was starving. Dante noticed. "Eat. You're feeding too." We ate in comfortable silence, and I found myself relaxing, just slightly, watching him across the table, this man who'd appeared in my life like some impossibly attractive guardian angel, offering solutions I'd never dared to hope for. "Can I ask you something?" I said eventually. Anything. Why do you flight to Milan so often? Every week, same flight. I have business interests, family connections. He paused. And I like the route. The crew is professional. The service is good. The service, I repeated, not quite believing that was the whole truth. His eyes met mine, and something electric passed between us. The service has been exceptional, particularly from a certain flight attendant who makes the best coffee at 30,000 feet. I felt heat rise to my cheeks. You're saying you fly this route because I make good coffee? I'm saying, he said quietly, that there are multiple reasons I chose this particular flight, and good coffee is only one of them. The implication hung in the air between us. Dangerous. Complicated. Tempting. Dante, I can't. I'm pregnant. I'm a mess. This isn't... I know, and I'm not suggesting anything. I'm simply being honest. He smiled, genuinely this time. It's a character flaw. I tend to say what I mean. That's not a flaw. It is in my world. I wondered what world that was. Suspected I didn't really want to know, but couldn't help asking anyway. What exactly do you do, Dante? Your business? Many things. Import-export, real estate, investment. He said it smoothly, but I caught what he didn't say. And other things you're not mentioning. And other things, he agreed, that are better left unmentioned, for your safety as much as mine. I should have been alarmed, should have run from this man who casually admitted to dangerous business dealings. But instead I felt intrigued, safe somehow, despite all logic. If I accept your help, will I be in danger? Will my baby? No. The word was absolute. You'll be protected. Always. That's not negotiable. Protected from what? From anything that might threaten you. Anyone who might try to use you as leverage against me. The world I operate in, people make enemies. I won't let you become collateral damage. This is insane, I whispered. I don't even know you. You don't know me. And you're offering to, what, take care of me? Protect me? Why? Because when I saw you almost fall today, when I caught you and felt you trembling, trying so hard to hold everything together despite being exhausted and scared and alone, he stopped, something raw in his voice. Because I know what it's like to wish you could go back, to save someone, to be there when it mattered. Your wife, my son. I couldn't save them, but maybe I can help you, give you and your baby the chance they didn't get. Tears burned my eyes. Pregnancy hormones made me emotional anyway, but this raw honesty from a man who clearly didn't show vulnerability often, it broke something open in me. Okay, I whispered. Okay? I accept. Your help. Your protection. All of it. I wiped my eyes. Thank you. Dante reached across the table, took my hand. His grip was warm, steady, solid. You're not alone anymore, Lily. I promise you that. The next 3 months were surreal. Dante arranged everything with quiet efficiency. An apartment in Chicago, near the best hospital, furnished, equipped with everything I might need, a car and driver at my disposal, an obstetrician who specialized in high-risk pregnancies. Though mine technically wasn't high risk, Dante insisted on the best. I tried to pay him back, keep track of expenses, maintain some independence. He wouldn't hear of it. This isn't a loan, Lily. It's a gift. Accept it. I don't know how. Learn. The implication hung in the air between us. Dangerous. Complicated. Tempting. Dante, I can't. I'm pregnant. I'm a mess. This isn't. I know, and I'm not suggesting anything. I'm simply being honest. He smiled genuinely this time. It's a character flaw. I tend to say what I mean. That's not a flaw. It is in my world. I wondered what world that was. Suspected I didn't really want to know, but couldn't help asking anyway. What exactly do you do, Dante? Your business. Many things. Import, export, real estate, investment. He said it smoothly, but I caught what he didn't say. And other things you're not mentioning. And other things, he agreed, that are better left unmentioned, for your safety as much as mine. I should have been alarmed, should have run from this man who casually admitted to dangerous business dealings, but instead I felt intrigued, safe somehow, despite all logic. If I accept your help, will I be in danger? Will my baby? No. The word was absolute. You'll be protected. Always. That's not negotiable. Protected from what? From anything that might threaten you. Anyone who might try to use you as leverage against me. The world I operate in, people make enemies. I won't let you become collateral damage. This is insane, I whispered. I don't even know you. You don't know me. And you're offering to what? Take care of me? Protect me? Why? Because when I saw you almost fall today, when I caught you and felt you trembling, trying so hard to hold everything together despite being exhausted and scared and alone, he stopped, something raw in his voice. Because I know what it's like to wish you could go back, to save someone, to be there when it mattered. Your wife? My wife. My son. I couldn't save them, but maybe I can help you, give you and your baby the chance they didn't get. Tears burned my eyes. Pregnancy hormones made me emotional anyway, but this raw honesty from a man who clearly didn't show vulnerability often, it broke something open in me. Okay, I whispered. Okay? I accept. Your help. Your protection. All of it. I wiped my eyes. Thank you. Dante reached across the table, took my hand. His grip was warm, steady, solid. You're not alone anymore, Lily. I promise you that. The next 3 months were surreal. Dante arranged everything with quiet efficiency. An apartment in Chicago near the best hospital, furnished, equipped with everything I might need, a car and driver at my disposal, an obstetrician who specialized in high-risk pregnancies. Though mine technically wasn't high risk, Dante insisted on the best. I tried to pay him back, keep track of expenses, maintain some independence. He wouldn't hear of it. This isn't a loan, Lily. It's a gift. Accept it. I don't know how. Learn. He visited often, more often than necessary, really. Checking on me, making sure I had everything I needed, sometimes bringing dinner, sitting with me in the cozy apartment, talking about everything and nothing. I learned more about him in those months than I'd learned in 8 months of serving him coffee. His childhood in Sicily, his move to America at 19, building his business from nothing, making choices he wasn't proud of but didn't regret. His marriage. Maria, the love of his life, he said, gone too soon, taking their dreams with her. Do you think you'll ever marry again? I asked one evening, both of us sitting on my couch, my feet propped up on pillows because the swelling had gotten bad. He was quiet for a long moment. I thought not. For 12 years, I thought that part of my life was over, that Maria was my one chance at family. And now? His eyes found mine, still filled with that wonder. He's lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have you too, even if you're not. I stopped, unsure how to finish. Even if I'm not his father. Dante finished quietly. His hand was still on my belly, the baby still moving beneath his touch, and he laughed, a sound I'd never heard from him before, full and genuine and almost boyish. He's strong. He's stubborn, takes after his mother. Dante's eyes met mine, still filled with that wonder. Lily, I want to ask you something, and I need you to think carefully before answering. Okay. When the baby is born, when you're recovered and ready to think about the future, let me be part of it, part of his life, part of yours, not as a benefactor or a friend, but as something more. My heart stopped. Dante, what are you saying? I'm saying I've fallen in love with the idea of you and your son as my family. I know the timing is terrible. I know I'm not what you need right now, but I'm asking anyway. Give me a chance. Let me be the father your son deserves. You don't know what you're asking. Being a father, it's not a game. It's every day, every night, diapers and crying and no sleep, and I want all of it.
He was quiet for a moment. Then, I'm not trying to replace Maria and our son. They'll always be part of me. But Lily, you're not a replacement. You're something new. Something I didn't expect and didn't plan for, but can't imagine living without now. Even though I'm pregnant with someone else's child, he's not someone else's child. Marcus chose to walk away. That means he chose to not be a father, which means your son needs one. And I'm asking, no, begging for the chance to be that for him. Why? I had to know. Why us? Why now? Because when I held you on that plane, when you were falling and I caught you, I realized I've been falling too. For months, every flight, every conversation, every smile you gave me, I've been falling for you, Lily, and I'm tired of pretending I haven't. Tears streamed down my face. Damn pregnancy hormones. I'm scared. Me too. What if it doesn't work? What if you realize this was a mistake? Then we'll figure it out together. That's what families do. We're not a family yet. We could be, if you let us. I took a shaky breath. Okay. Okay. Yes, try. Let's try to be a family. You and me and this baby who won't stop kicking me in the ribs. His laugh was warm, relieved. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He arrived in 15, bursting through my door with flowers and a bag from my favorite bakery and an expression of pure joy. You mean it? He asked, setting everything down, crossing to me. You let me do this? Be his father? Be yours? If you're sure. I've never been more sure of anything. He knelt before me, hands on my belly. Hello, little one. I'm Dante. I'm going to be your papa, if that's okay with you. The baby kicked, hard. Dante laughed, looking up at me with tears in his eyes. I think he approves. I think he does. The next 2 months were a blur of preparation. Dante insisted on being involved in everything. Doctor's appointments, baby shopping, nursery setup. He painted the nursery himself. Soft blue with white clouds, a mural of airplanes on one wall as a nod to how we met. In case he wants to be a pilot someday, Dante said, stepping back to admire his work. Or a flight attendant, I teased. God help me if he inherits your stubbornness. Too late, he's already stubborn. He gets it from both of us now. Dante pulled me close as my enormous belly would allow. Both of us. I like the sound of that. The labor started on a Tuesday morning, 3 days before my due date, which the doctor said was perfectly normal for first pregnancies. I called Dante immediately. It's time. I'm on my way. Don't move. Don't do anything. Just breathe. Dante, I'm not going to explode if I move. I'm on my way, he repeated and hung up. He arrived in record time, found me calmly timing contractions, already packed and ready. You're too calm, he accused. Shouldn't you be panicking? One of us needs to stay rational. Another contraction hit, stronger this time. I breathed through it, watched Dante's face go pale. Hospital. Now, he managed. The drive was nerve-wracking. For Dante, anyway. I was surprisingly zen, focused on breathing, on staying calm, on the knowledge that soon I'd meet my son. Our son, I corrected mentally, because Dante had been there for every step. He'd earned that title. At the hospital, everything became a blur. Contractions getting closer, stronger, doctors and nurses checking monitors, offering encouragement. And through it all, Dante, holding my hand, wiping my forehead, murmuring words of support in Italian when the pain got bad. You're doing amazing, he kept saying, so strong, so brave. I'm dying, I gasped during a particularly bad contraction. I changed my mind.
I don't want to do this. Too late. He's coming whether you like it or not. I hate you. I love you too. 8 hours. 8 hours of labor that felt like 8 years. And then, finally, the doctor said, one more push. Come on, Lily, one more. I pushed with everything I had, felt Dante's hand crushing mine, heard his voice in my ear. You can do this, almost there. And then a cry, high, indignant, absolutely perfect. It's a boy, the doctor announced, holding up a tiny, squirming Wendell. Our boy, Dante whispered, and I heard tears in his voice. They cleaned him, wrapped him, placed him on my chest. He was perfect. Dark hair, scrunched face, tiny fists waving, beautiful and whole and mine. Ours. Hello, little one, I whispered. We've been waiting for you. Dante leaned over us both, one hand on my shoulder, one finger gently touching the baby's tiny hand. The baby grasped it immediately, held on with surprising strength. He knows you, I said softly. I hope so. Dante's voice was rough. I've been talking to him for months. What's his name? The nurse asked, clipboard ready. I looked at Dante. We'd discussed this, but the final decision was mine. What do you think? Marco, Dante said immediately. If you like it. It means warrior. I know. I looked at our son, this tiny fighter who'd grown inside me despite everything. Marco Romano. It's perfect. Romano? Dante stared. If you'll have us, if you'll make it official, be his father, I hesitated. Your husband, Dante finished. He kissed me, gentle and sweet, mindful of the baby between us. Yes, God, yes. The next day, I woke to find Dante asleep in the chair beside my hospital bed. Marco, cradled carefully in his arms. He'd been up all night, I learned later, keeping watch while I slept, changing diapers, soothing Marco when he cried, absolutely refusing to hand him over to the nurses. He's mine now, Dante had told them. I'm his father. I'll take care of him. And he did. From that first night forward, he did. We stayed in the hospital for 2 days. Then Dante brought us home, not to my apartment, but to his house, a massive place in the suburbs with a nursery already prepared, a night nurse on standby, and every possible baby item anyone could ever need. You went overboard, I accused, looking at the room stuffed with toys and clothes and equipment. I got excited, he admitted. I may have bought out several stores. May have? Definitely did, he grinned, unrepentant. But look, he held up a tiny outfit, airplane pajamas, for our little aviator. Our little aviator. Because Marco was ours, not mine, not Dante's, ours. The first few weeks were exhausting, sleepless nights, endless diapers, figuring out feeding and schedules. But Dante was there for all of it. He got up for 2 a.m. feedings, he mastered diaper changing. He could soothe Marco's crying with a combination of Italian lullabies and gentle bouncing that I envied. You're a natural, I told him one morning, watching him pace the nursery with Marco on his shoulder. I'm a disaster, he countered, but I'm a committed disaster. That's all that matters. 3 months after Marco's birth, Dante proposed properly, down on one knee in our living room, Marco asleep in his bassinet beside us, a ring that took my breath away. Lily Anderson, you've given me everything I thought I'd lost. A family, a future, a reason to believe in second chances. Will you marry me? Make this official. Let me be your husband as well as Marco's father. Yes, I said, tears streaming. Yes, of course, yes. We were married quietly 2 months later. Just us, Marco, a judge, and Dante's sisters who'd flown in from Italy and immediately adopted me as family. You make him happy, Rosa, the oldest, told me. We haven't seen him smile like this since Maria. Thank you for giving him back his joy. A year later, I stood in our kitchen watching through the window as Dante played with Marco in the backyard. Our son, 15 months old now, walking, babbling, absolutely fearless, was chasing butterflies, while his father followed with patient amusement. Careful, Piccolo. Not too far. Marco looked back, gave his father a huge grin, and immediately tripped over his own feet. Dante caught him before he hit the ground, as he always did, always would. I thought about that moment on the plane, when I had been falling, and Dante had caught me. When he had seen my secret and instead of judgment, offered help. How far we had come from that day, from pregnant and alone to married and loved, from hiding to being seen, from survival to thriving. Dante looked up, saw me watching, smiled. That smile that was just for me, the one that said, I see you, I choose you, I love you. He picked up Marco, carried him toward the house. Marco saw me through the window and squealed, Mama! My heart swelled. Every single time he said that word, my heart threatened to burst. They came inside, bringing noise and chaos and joy. Marco reached for me and I took him, breathing in his baby smell, kissing his dark curls. Good morning, Dante said, kissing my cheek. Sleep well? Better now that you two are here. We brought gifts. He held up his phone. I got the flight schedule for next month. We're going to Italy, all of us. Time for Marco to meet the rest of the family. Italy? I raised an eyebrow. That's a long flight with a toddler. We'll manage. Besides, he grinned, I know this excellent flight attendant who can give us tips. Former flight attendant, I corrected. I'd stopped flying after Marco was born, by choice. Dante had offered to buy me my own plane if I wanted to keep working, but I'd declined. This stage of Marco's life was too precious to miss. Once a flight attendant, always a flight attendant, Dante teased. The uniform is still in the closet if you ever want to role play. I threw a dishcloth at him. He caught it, laughing. Marco clapped his hands, delighted by our play. More! More chaos? Dante asked. Your mother is already giving me chaos. You love chaos. I love you. The chaos is just a bonus. We spent the morning as a family. Breakfast, playtime, Marco's nap. Simple, domestic, perfect. During Marco's nap, Dante pulled me onto the couch, tucked me against his side. Happy? He asked quietly. So happy. Sometimes I can't believe this is my life. Believe it. You deserve it. All of it. We both do. I tilted my head up to look at him. Thank you for touching me that day on the plane, for seeing me when I felt invisible. You were never invisible, Bella. You just thought you were. But I'll keep catching you every time you fall. That's what families do. Marco woke from his nap crying, as he sometimes did. Dante was up immediately. Heading to the nursery, I followed. Found him already lifting our son, soothing him with soft Italian words. Shh, piccolo. Papa's here. You're safe. Marco buried his face in Dante's shoulder, still sniffling. Papa. That word, the first time Marco had said it, Dante had cried. Actually cried. This strong, dangerous man brought to tears by a single word from a baby's mouth. I'm here, Dante promised. Always here.
That evening, after Marco was asleep, Dante and I sat on our porch, watching the sunset. His arm around my shoulders, my head on his chest, the sound of his heartbeat steady and sure. Do you ever regret it? I asked quietly. Taking on me and Marco, all the complications we brought to your life? Never. The word was absolute. Lily, you and Marco are the best things that ever happened to me. You gave me back something I thought I'd lost forever. Purpose, family, joy. You gave me those things too. And you gave Marco a father. A real father, not just biology, but choice. He's easy to love. You both are. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the sky turn pink and gold. And I thought about the journey that had brought us here. The fear, the uncertainty, the desperate hope that somehow everything would work out. It had. Against all odds, against all logic, it had. Because Dante Romano had walked onto my plane one day and seen me, really seen me. And instead of looking away, he'd chosen to catch me when I fell. What are you thinking? Dante asked. That I should write a thank you letter to whatever cosmic force decided to put you in seat 1A that day.
He laughed. It wasn't cosmic force. I specifically chose that route because of you. I sat up. What? The airline. I own it, Lily. Well, majority share. I've owned it for 5 years. You what? I saw you on a flight to Rome 3 years ago. You didn't notice me, but I noticed you. The way you smiled at passengers, the genuine care you showed, and I thought, I want to know her. So, you bought the airline? Not specifically for you, but I arranged my schedule to fly your route. Got to know you slowly, over time. Waited for the right moment. The right moment being when I was 6 months pregnant and falling apart? The right moment being when you finally needed someone as much as I needed you. He cupped my face. I would have waited forever, Bella, but I'm glad I didn't have to. You're insane. I'm in love. It's basically the same thing. I kissed him long and deep and full of gratitude for his patience, his persistence, his perfect timing. Inside, Marco started crying again. We both sighed. I'll get him, Dante said. We'll both get him. That's what families do. We went inside together, to our son who needed us, to our life that was messy and beautiful and exactly what we'd both been searching for. I'd hidden my pregnancy because I thought I had to face it alone. But Dante Romano had shown me something better. You're never truly alone when you let someone catch you. And sometimes the person who catches you becomes the one you were meant to fall for all along.